Boo no. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Unreal Engine 5 game development live stream, where we're back in our gas course project, an action game built from scratch using Unreal Engine 5, of course, C++, blueprints, all that good stuff. So today we're going to try to wrap up what we've been trying to do for our enhanced input listener task. We got most of it done. You'll see it here on the left-hand side. We were able to clean things up. What I want to try to do is make sure that we block the logic when we have the input buffer open. Just because when we are, for example, like attacking, you want to go to the next step of the combo and stuff like that, it's going to keep pressing it as long as I'm tapping it. You can't really see the debug too well, but I want to make sure it stays closed and doesn't actually it basically waits until the input buffer opens up before passing it along. So I want to see if this will kind of work. Because yeah, there has to be some sort of connection that I would need to set up as well. Because like the input buffer component that we set up yesterday, like it doesn't really, like, I'm trying to think of the word. Like it's listening for the input, but then it just kind of passes the ability to input out. It doesn't kind of invoke the input action either, I think. So it'll be worth to double check that too, because I'm not 100% sure. Excuse me. Because yeah, we have activate buffered input ability. So we get all the input buffer tags. We're basically recording it when it's open. I believe it's in our character as well. So here, we're adding the tag here. So I'm curious how if it will work kind of out of the box how I'd expect. If not, we're gonna have to just kind of see. That's gonna be our goal, and then I want to work on a trigger ability task. See if we could just push everything through the state tree for melee, just so we have that consistent combo going. That's what we're going to try to do today. So we can go ahead and get started. So I'm getting, so the player controller, I also need to get, I need to get my input buffer component. So I also need to get the player pawn. So I have to say like a gas force player character, my character, easy get pawn, and then I have to say like if, and then I'll say set u input buffer component, input buffer equals blah blah blah, yeah. So essentially I have to bring everything in here. I'm sure there's a way to refactor this so that like it's not as kind of loopy, but now it's okay. So I want to say, from there we have my input buffer. So I need to say here, I need to also pass in my input buffer. I have to say like, so if input buffer is input buffer open. So I want to make sure we don't do this if the input buffer is open. And essentially, I don't know if I need to do that for all. I should do this for all of them. Because, like, alternatively, I could probably, maybe I can make a task, or no, a condition that says, hey, is the input buffer open, and kind of work it that way. But for now, we can just leave it at that. So I'm assuming that's enough. I could be wrong. So let's compile and we'll see what happens. So I'll have to look into how to also unbind lambdas. So do I need to unbind lambda? Yes, you should unbind input actions in the exit state, okay. Is that even a thing? I wonder if that's accurate. Okay. Let's see what happens now. So I press it, it does it as you'd expect. Now let me slow down time. Okay. So yeah, I think I know why, because the buffer doesn't close or it doesn't open until halfway through the attack. So that's going to be the problem there. Maybe I could do it in a different way. We'll have to see. Let's see if I can just do the unbinding part first. So on exit, we gotta do pretty much a lot of the same stuff. Let me just kind of yoink this code and see what happens. So yeah, input component remove binding by class. That's not a thing. So removes the action binding at the specified index. So yeah, that's not really a thing. And so there's handles and remove by handle. And there's all these different like handles. I wonder if I need to track these as well. So that's also a thing. Because yeah, these are also F enhanced input action event bindings. What would be the best way to do this here? How to unbind. So yeah, that did not give me the information I was hoping for. There is no remove binding by class, though. Is there? That's what the AI seems to think there is. Let's see if we get anything. Man, it doesn't look like there is. I wonder. Okay, so there's this whole thing I don't really need anymore. I wonder if I can make like a T array of, what's the return type of this? I wonder if I could say something like this. Then can I say can I then say something along the lines of oops. Cannot be used as a type. Wonder why. That's weird. Hey, thanks for the subscription there on YouTube, Govind. I appreciate that. How you doing? Thanks for popping in. So T-Array. So cannot be used as a type. Why? So how to store? Let's see what I can get out there. No. So when using lambda bindings, seems like I'm supposed to be doing it this way. It's no a viable function. It all seems valid, I would assume. No. Is it because maybe this has to exist within the... Maybe? Now, can I say something along the lines of... So, maybe I can say... Yeah, it doesn't let me add. So based on the cause there are still potential problems. Yeah, redundant stuff, okay. Okay. Seems fine now. And now I want to say... So completed event binding. And then one more time. Canceled. I'm doing this one, and then I should be able to say 4. Okay. Input component, remove binding by handle. Is there like a way to get the handle, maybe? Get handle. Close. What is this giving me? Okay, it's giving me an UN32. So can I say it here? Maybe? Possibly. But yeah, we still gotta figure out how I want to handle this, because I don't want the transitions really happening. Like the events that be... I guess the events could be sent, but I gotta handle the transitions possibly elsewhere. So maybe I don't need to check. I could possibly just block transitions through a condition. So maybe this whole input buffer check is not really necessary. So I want to know if like my input is blocked. Um, let's not worry about the buffer anymore, honestly. Let's handle this a different way. We'll do it by a condition. So let us just remove this check here, bring that back. I wonder if this can exist within the lambda. No, it's redundant. Okay, so that should be hopefully okay. Let's find out. And let's pray that it compiles. And then, yeah, we'll work on that condition. Maybe we could try making a condition in C++. We can at least first do it in blueprints. Okay, so bunch of problems. What's wrong? So undeclared syntax error. So TRA. Okay. Let's see if that's gonna do anything for us. Okay. Still a bunch of problems. Awesome. What's wrong? Oh my god. So bool operator. Not really giving me anything on it. So illegal indirection. What does that mean, really? So looking at the console output, blah, 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 this is occurring at line 72. So the problem, the issue appears to be related to how get instance state is being called. The error suggests there might be a problem with the pointer dereferencing operation. I mean, can I write it as this? And then maybe I could say, what, like instance data? Maybe after it's all done, I could say something like that. Let's see. Now, is it because it's const? No, so still wrong with the illegal indirection here. All is going downhill in this section. So let's start from here, right? So do I need to? Okay, I need to include that for one, it seems. Maybe that's the first problem. And maybe because it didn't know the type, that's why it was kind of shitting its pants. Okay. What else is wrong here? Okay. Maybe this is the problem. Maybe it doesn't need to be a shared pointer. Oops. Let's try it for the 12th time. Still no go. So line 38, for example. Whoopsie poopsie. All right, we got there, boys. So assuming this still works, okay. Let's move on. I want to make a matches tag query condition. And we can use that to like kind of branch out of between the states, make sure that we don't go to the next state until we're ready. Hopefully. At least that's the plan. And again, we're going to try to do this in blueprints first, just so we can prove it. And then we'll write in C++, and then we got to make at least start working on that trigger ability task. And then also I would want to potentially rewrite my melee ability into C++, or at least make a base class in C++. Don't know why. Seems fun. And slowly but surely, we're going to be getting our melee combo system working, hopefully. And yeah, the goal, again, being able to just kind of visually map out how our melee combos are going to work. Because I want to have, light 1, light 2, light 3, whatever, and then heavy 1, heavy 2, heavy 3, and be able to be, using my inputs switch between these states, and each state is responsible for activating a melee ability with these explicit input parameters. We're going to have to set up a chooser at some point as well to map things to like a tag, for example. So yeah, one thing at a time. Let's just confirm that things aren't broken to hell. So yeah, still changing, all good. Let's just, yeah, it's all good. We exit, nothing crashes, fantastic, okay. Everything still looks normal here. So let's look at this condition. So I don't know what considerations do. I need to learn more about that. New condition. So there is a tag match. But I would want to say tag query match. So we'll make a new one. Player state tree, we'll say conditions here. So we'll say st condition underscore matches tag query. We'll save. Override our receive test condition. We're going to need to create a couple of variables here. I think they have to be under context. In our context, we are given the player controller. So we should be able to say player controller. Like, ideally, I would want to, like, because maybe, like, I don't know. I would want to make a state tree component schema for this that kind of gives me a bunch of shit, if I'm going to be honest. But I don't know how schemas really work. So, yeah, state tree component schema. Like, I don't know how to tell it, okay, you know, these are the things that I kind of want to instantiate. So it's like, okay, I want to, you know, use the gas course player character. I want to make sure I have my ability system component. Could be something I can do in my evaluator. Maybe that's the play. Where I can just say, for example, okay, my actor there is this, it's player controller, so I can have, for example, context, player controller, and then I could do things such as, so for example, so in controller, we're gonna say get controlled pawn, you know, is valid. We could also make this as a thing here. We could say, and then say controlled pawn. I could spell pawn correctly. And then we could say something like, you know, cast to gas course player character. Do that as well. And then we could say, you know, get ability system component. I don't know what needs to be public and what doesn't, but whatever. Now, if we go back here, you know, we have all of this, right? Now, I don't think it needs to be that way. I think I can just make these, what, output? Let's see. Yes, control out. So I should be able to make these all outputs. And then use them pretty much elsewhere. So ideally, I could ask, I could just explicitly ask for like an ability system component or a character. So let's just work with an actor. A actor or just actor, I guess. And we would pretty much kind of just say, hey, oh yeah, we also need another variable. We want to do this as input, I think. And this needs to be of type tag query. And then we could say like get, I guess I have to like cast to, or get ability system component, get owned tags, and then we could just say something like, so query open, we could just say, hey, matches we also have to say like is valid, so we would just have to say hey is valid before ever checking these things, so we can have a conditional check here. We could log something here. Again, we're just doing this in Blueprint for the sake of testing something. Doesn't have to be exactly perfect. So now should be able to use this condition down here. So conditions. So there is has tag. All right, so okay, so they already have a does container match tag query. But I have to like, so the bad thing about this, and maybe I can actually like open this one up somewhere. The bad thing about this is it's taking in a tag container. So I think mine potentially could be a little easier to work with. Instead, I want to use my control pawn. And yeah, this doesn't have to be an in. Let me just get rid of the... Let's call it parameters or something. So now I should be able to make the query. And hopefully it would work. And in this case, the query... I could make a global parameter for this. So we could say, hey, you know, tag query. Name it as, you know, combo. So melee transition tag requirements, for example. And we gotta say, hey, we'll say all expressions match. Then we say the first expression, it's gonna be node tags match. And we want to do block. Is it status.blockability? Is this the one? It should be in here. Yeah. So that should be what we're looking for. And then I should be able to just say, hey, use this. So ideally now, because the inputs could be blocked immediately, so that is the current issue where because I'm activating the ability before the stage tree even gets there, like I think that's why it's failing. We can also just run so access in controller. Maybe that's also why it's failing, because I'm not getting that correctly. maybe we can also run the evaluator real quick. Should happen immediately. Now in controller, here's my controller. All seems fine. Now this is the AI controller one. So that's why it's failing. This is eventually I'll have to rename it out to do something separate for AI. We'll just say it's valid for now. Now let's look at our tag query. So I'm going to press this. So my own tags. Yeah, so we already have status.block.ability on there. So that's currently the main problem, is that we're activating this in order, I guess, what's the term? Maybe the best way to handle this, let's just try it. There should be a event here. I think I made one. There is this like B activate ability. And then activation tag. I need to probably do this by class eventually. So let's find my melee base. I have it. Yeah, it's instant melee. Let's find you real quick. So got that, but let's open this up. Because yeah, it's really just sending this. So I want to make a new one. I'm going to call it BP grant ability and activate once. Let's just say that. So let's nuke you for a sec. Let's grab our ASC thing. There should be a grant ability or give ability and activate once. Make this a variable ability class, sure. Level ID, input ID, doesn't really matter. Basically, we want to do something like this. And then in our state tree, we can replace the, replace this one with grant and activate once. Put in that. Let's also just delete some unneeded variables. So it's a much cleaner thing. And then melee base. So I should be able to do what I was just doing, except now I should be able to go to that state, right? Oh no, I still have it in our AS character base. Here's our melee base. Just gonna delete that for a moment. Yes. So that pseudo works as intended. And what I could do, and maybe it's a valid outcome, is like I can have a task that kind of writes data to, I don't know, like a melee combo component that just says, hey, this is your data, right? This is your animation tag. This is your whatever data. This is whatever your data. So maybe this could even work as is. Not sure, but we're making progress. So what I need to do is maybe I need to, I don't know if I'll convert that to code just yet, but yeah, I need to try, I want to try creating a task that lets me kind of construct public variables. So for example, I'm going to, just so I have it, I'm going to do a gameplay tag. I'm going to call this melee animation tag. Make it public. So we'll know it's working if we get there. Let's go to tools, new C++ class. Let's do state tree task. Let's put it into our state tree. What are the names of these? So GAS C underscore state tree task. Okay. So trigger ability. Okay. Nope. Too long. So grant ability. Seems good enough for me. So let's see what happens. All right. So let's kind of use our work that we've done on the other task and inform what we were going to do here. So we don't really care as a U object, I don't think. Because I know we're gonna need to make it a struct of some sort, right? So yeah, don't need for minimal, something like that. So F grant ability instance data or instance data. Thing along those lines, right? No. Well, I guess yeah. Like this. Something like that. And I think it needs to just be T subclass of, oops, if a or U gameplay ability. Gameplay ability class. Just gameplay ability. I need to include this for sure. Now, I don't know if, again, I don't know if it needs to be a U class. I'm just going to nuke it for now. And then I'm going to copy this. And call this state tree task underscore, so GAC grant, what is it? Grant ability. And then I'm going to give it this. This. Interstate instance type. I don't know if I need to do any kind of node style. We can look at the other, there's other ones here. There's like there's a task for EQS, right? So there should be like state tree, EQS state tree. It should give me something. No, state tree. Run query task. There's a node.find. I'll just take that. Now, I know I need to be able to. So here's the struct that they have. They have owner, then the query template, query config, which is a T array of this thing. So I'm assuming I need to have some sort of dynamic parameter. So this is where I'm going to ask AI for hella help. So how to instantiate state tree task parameters based on gameplay ability class. I've asked this the same question to this AI a couple times, and I haven't really looked into it more. Now we're at that point where I want to try, so we're going to find out. Because this task, the run environment query task, does what I'm hoping to accomplish. So for example, you have this run environment query, and then you do this spawner, which in the spawner I've made a dynamic parameter. I click it, and then it basically gives this array, and it adds that for me, and you can bind to it and all that stuff. So I want to get something similar where I put in my ability class, and then it says, boom, here are your public variables that are shown. So I'm hoping AI can hopefully help. So first query structure your task instance data that will hold the parameters. So I already have a T subclass. And then there's the struct, enter state, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Add editor support. Yeah, so that's not really what I want. So, create a state tree task that exposes ability class public variables as parameters of the task. Let's see if I can get this. So yeah, I don't know if it needs. So F state tree ability parameters bindings. Maybe it does. I don't know if it needs the things here, maybe. So get instance type. Yeah, post edit, I know I'm going to need. Let's just try, let's fuck around and find out. I think that's gonna be the play. So we need to create this struct here. That F state tree property bindings, is that a thing? Seems to be. Does this have this somewhere? No. Okay. And then we have this. I don't know if I need these things, but it seems like we might. So I'm just going to do that. Bam. So yeah, we have get instance data type F instance So using correct ones here. Yeah. That's fine. There's enter state, there's exit state. Yeah, we don't need tick or compile. But yeah, with editor, we need these two. Let's see, virtual void post. Okay. And then feed data validation result. So validate parameters doesn't seem like it's a thing. Let's find out. So enter, exit, state completed. Tick, trigger transitions. Validate parameters a thing. It's in scene captures, time Niagara effects. We have this one. There's no yeah, there's no validate parameters thing that I'm seeing so far. There's the node base, so there's compile. Now let's see if there is a validate. No. So it could be compile that they're kind of referring to. Well, let's make that assumption. So compile. And then end if. Cool. Now we got to implement everything. So enter state. Let's generate all the code definitions. So I don't know if we need to do all of that, but let's do it. YOLO. So yeah, enter state. Let's see if it likes this at all. So it says it's incomplete. So we need to include this, I assume. one thing. Ability class is a different thing, because I don't think that's what I named my variable. Ability. That. Now there's a right bindings thing here, which doesn't seem to be it. There's binding dot bindings. Can you give a better context of how everything we're doing here connects together? Meaning I'll have the straight T and input buffer are used for a melee combo system. Sure. So basically what I'm trying to accomplish here is using state tree to have explicit states to say which point of the melee combo string I'm in. So I'm listening for these inputs to know, okay, I'm going here, and then I transition to the next one. If it's the light attack, transition to the next one. If it's another light attack, and kind of have a looping state tree to give my order of operation for how the combo string is going to come out. So now I'm trying to work on a state tree task that will trigger the ability and hopefully expose parameters to me on state tree to say, okay, play this animation with these parameters, blah, blah, blah. And of course, input buffering is so when you're attacking, you can kind of spam the input for the next attack and it won't execute until we really want to, based on our input buffer within the animation montage. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here. And so once we are also then listening for like heavy attacks, we can say, okay, light attack goes here. If you do a heavy attack, go to this transition state. If you go back to light attack, go then to this string, and then just so you have an easy way of visualizing the back and forth. So that's hopefully going to be the goal. Yes, exactly. It represents the state machine. No problem. Thanks for asking the question. Hopefully that was relatively clear. We'll see. We'll see if it works. It should work. But there doesn't seem to be a right bindings thing. So apply all parameter bindings. So what options do I have? Binding, dot bindings, dot what? And then there's a copy property. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see here. So create state tree class that takes gameplay ability class parameter and exposes all public variables of the ability class to be editable in state tree tags. Let's see. Try to get that information back. So I believe that's all good. So blah blah blah. Cached property, F property, F state tree bindable value, bindings. Hmm. Like it keeps thinking like bindings dot something. So bindings in this case, I guess, is a different thing. So let's just look at what it wants us to do, honestly. Because I'm pseudo at a loss. So I'm gonna just start over. So is S state tree bindable value even a thing? Doesn't seem like it. Nope. So F state tree bind struct thing. What can we do here? Because there's this generate parameter bindings. Let's see. Yeah, this AI doesn't really help too much. Let's see. Create state tree task that takes in a gameplay ability class parameter and can expose all public variables of the ability to be editable in state tree. Let's try again. Let's keep prompting this AI to see if we get anything useful. Okay, let's look again. So we got F name, property name, F stream, property variable. Like again, this isn't really a thing, is it? Doesn't feel like that. But then yeah, essentially we eventually get down to here. Let's see if we could somehow make this work. So yeah, generate properties. So let's just copy this, see what we get. We get a lot of problems though. So yeah, tmap f string to f state tree. Maybe we can say to then I can say oh, what's wrong here? Cannot resolve that. F state tree ability. Now, it's because it's in my instance data, I'm not going to be able to access that. So I'm guessing that's why it's moved in here. So can I move it to the protected section? Binding dot, oh, I called it cache property. Yes. And then there's binding dot property name and then binding dot value. So is property name an F string? No, so this needs to be F name. Okay. Now now this can maybe be here as well. Like that, and then like that. Then, so F ability parameter binding. Is that a thing? This is a type that new binding dot cache property equals property, and then get name no. Maybe just changing this from an F name to F string will make my life easier. Is there a get F name? So it's gonna be F name. Okay, and now not sure that's gonna work. Do my binding dot. Maybe that's okay. Not sure how that's gonna look, honestly. So we got that part, and now enter state. Let's nuke you out for a second, and we're gonna start one by one. So ability class ain't a thing. So like that, and then this. Ability. And then temp ability. And then this. So const F. Right. So this is this. Guessing cache property. So yeah, there's this dot right that I'm not 100% sure of. So binding dot value, what's the value intended to be? Let's go back to the header file that it provided. So value is this binding. That's the only issue so far, this dot right. So let's just finish, writing this out. Because I don't know where I'm calling this generate parameters binding. It's probably gonna be on the edit, with the post-process, not post-process, but the edit chain event. So exit state, whatever. There's this validate node, which I think can just be the compile one. Yeah. That. And then yeah, post edit chain property. And then there's F gas state tree task ability parameters. So I think that is this. And this. So basically this is where it's just not gonna compile for sure. Amongst other things, I'm pretty confident, right? Let's see what happens. Because my assumption is what it's doing, or what we need to do, is we have the class. What we need to then do is take the class, instantiate it as an object, then take that object and get all the parameters and write to them. And then store that so that when we grant it, it's that class with those values. That's what I'm assuming it needs to be done. Because, at a certain point, we're not even granting the ability in this example of the code. For one. So let's try again. So write is not a member of state tree property bindings, which I guess makes sense because it wouldn't be read otherwise. So is there an option? It's saying to do write value. But also not correct. see, and it's I don't know, it's probably gonna tell me that you gotta use the function right instead of right value. Yeah. So it's just gonna be running into a circle at this point. What options do I get? So reset is valid. Copy property. So maybe I need to do copy. Because yeah, what are we doing here under generate parameter bindings? I mean, for the sake of just trying, like, I want to just see what happens when let's take out that part. I just want this to compile. I want to see what this task looks like in state tree. Because yeah, the first goal I would say is to put in our ability task. In the task, put in the ability class, and then once we do that, have it show all public variables from that class. That's the first step. Second step is basically copying those values into that ability when we kind of grant it. So we know how we need to split this up. The details, however, not even remotely close to understanding. So because yeah, the alternative could be to make a task that can write data to like a melee combo component, and that is used within the ability to say, okay, here are your variables for which animation to play, motion warping details, or whatever it may end up being. But we'll see. Let's just try it out. So let's open up our state tree. SD player, yeah, melee combo base. Let's see. So here's our task. Okay, so first I need to fix this. So grant and activate ability class. That's the first problem, because it's still the same naming as the previous one, but let's look at it. So we have gameplay ability, so I'm gonna put in melee. And yeah, nothing happens. Now we could, I don't think we could put a breakpoint anymore, because it would be here, not here. It would be here. So let's put in melee. So I don't even get to this. So just to be sure, let's just do this. And maybe I can say, let me just maybe ask a different question. So how to generate state tree task parameters dynamically based on input. I don't know. Hopefully when I say input, it doesn't think I'm talking about like gamepad input. So I'll help you understand how to generate stationary task parameters dynamically based on input in Unreal Engine, blah, blah, blah. Because yeah, it's saying initial, like it's giving all these options. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, like why would I need to have make like initial checks for these kinds of objects or types, variable types? Like it's saying check for Boolean, check for ints, check for floats. Like that's not manageable. And again, I know this does. So state tree. Run environment task, and it has this TRA, so query config, and it's here under post edit instance data change. Checks, hey, okay, is it the query template? Then it checks, get the instance data, gets the query template, and then there's a query template that collect query params. And then it does all this stuff, and then does all like pretty much. I think this is what it's doing. So maybe I have to make, I don't know, some struct, but yeah, like it's an explicit FAI dynamic params, and I don't know really what that is. Like, obviously, yeah, it's all that, but... So just for sanity, I'm going to change it. Yeah, still not getting a breakpoint, unless I removed that breakpoint. I did. I'm going to just put it back. Let's put this to melee. Yeah, no. So I'm not sure why. That's not getting called. Like, does compile get called? Yes. So yeah, it will eventually evaluate to something. Yeah, melee base, right? And that's what we're expecting. But yeah, well, post edit doesn't really do anything. So, I'm changing what it's doing, never really getting called. Never called. Let's see if I get any information here. All right, so it's saying supports instance data edit. Is that a thing? Like, I feel like this is just making shit up. Because yeah, this is the state tree run environment query task. Now, is this like identical? So I'm gonna just paste what I got there. Yes. Looks identical. Now, Yeah, post edit instance data, blah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe this is too difficult. Maybe. Because I could just make my life easier in some ways. Like I could maybe in theory. So have our player character. Have, I can create a new component. Actor component. I don't know why it doesn't let me create a new folder. Whatever. Here we'll say GASC melee combo component. And this literally can just have like it can contain a data struct. So move that here, for example. Now I can create struct. Say like F melee combo data. And we could say, for the sake of right now, we could just say gameplay tag. And we'll say melee animation tag. And then I could say, let me grab this activatability one for a second here. So there's this BP grant and activate once thing. So we could say, we could change this to, let me just create a duplicate. I'll say BP activate melee. And then I could say, so components, we could also say melee combo component. We also need to go into our melee combo component, make the variable. Melee combo, let's say melee data, what was it? Sure. And then in our activate melee here, we can say, hey, it's valid. Then we could just say that melee data. Say make. Well, we could just say this right here. Melee data, sure. And then we could say, grant and activate ability. That's right. And then I go into my melee combo, for example. and I say what? I want to have a base one. I want to say, I'll call this, idle. So melee combo 0 does VP active melee. I'm going to have to update the name for that, but so we got that. Ability class, we'll say melee. Hello, Rock Cooker. How's it going? So yeah, the melee component, I want to make sure it's not visible. And the melee data, yeah, we would have the tag, right? So I'm going to just put random tags in for a second. So this one's going to say reaction.knockup. Copy this one. Paste that one. And then we'll say, effect.asset tag or something, right? So now I should be able to say, so I also have to make sure I have my transitions here. So let me copy. This. And I can also have, when it's complete. I guess I also need to make sure, can I say wait? So I wonder if there's a way to get this handle. So can I say wait sign? No. There's nothing on I can wait on end, right? Because that's another problem here. I'm not sure when I can end this state. I'm getting my day started. I don't think I've seen this screen before. Is this a state machine? This is a state tree. It's one of the new stuff from Epic. Maybe it's okay not to be in this. I feel like I need to be able to make a callback. Let's just see if this pseudo works. Let me go to GA melee base. I have to clean this up a lot, but whatever. So let's just grab you. We're gonna say, get component by class. Say melee combo component. Promote. Melee combo component. And then I'll get melee data. I'm just gonna print out the gameplay tag. No, I don't want to do that. I just want to see if this will work. Debug string. Boom. Boom. So let's see. All right, so nothing is happening. But we are going to melee combo 0 and 1. So activate melee doesn't do anything. So let's go here. Oh, we're doing something wrong. Okay, so the melee combo component is what's broken. Got it. Okay, so for example, I can say, so like in pawn, let's say pawn. And then we'll be like, hey, it's valid. Then we'll say get component by class. melee combo. Set melee combo component like that. Replace this here. Now this should hopefully at least do something more than it was doing before. Still no. And because I need to pass it in like that, apply the same here. Okay. 10th time is the charm. Yeah. So we got effect.asset tag, and then we got reaction.knockup. Then back to effect.asset tag, react. So we're essentially we're essentially going through it now, so that kind of works. Now, I feel like this definitely has to be better, but I don't know how to make it better. Like, the way I thought I could make it better is through this, like, task where I can, do all of these things, where I can say, okay, here are all the properties of this class. And, write to the object and everything. Maybe there's a better way for me to ask this. So, how to write to public variables of a class object. Like, is there a way to get, like, how to access all properties of an object? So maybe that's a better question. How to access all public variables of a class. Because I might have to rely on Google for this question. So for the sake of anything, we can let's just we'll say on compile. No, we'll say on enter. Let's nuke all this crap for a second. Well, let's not nuke all this crap for a second. Let's say so we have a temp ability already, and it's an object. So I should be able to say, so for T field iterator, is F property a thing? Okay. Prop. Sure. See, I don't want to have to do these like conditionals, for example. Like, can I just say me you want log temp warning, yeah, property name. Like, is that all kosher? Can I make like a T array of properties? And just have all the properties there? I don't know. Could be asking for too much. Oops. Let's see if that even compiles. Maybe an exact Google Google search will help me as well. So U56 plus. Suppose all public parameters of a class. No. Let's see. All right, so I have this idle. Go put it in the task that I have. Generate this one, right? Now I'm gonna just say, melee, and then I'm gonna play. We should hopefully get something in the UE log, right? Yeah. So we have all these properties. So it is doing that. Which is nice. Does it have the melee tag? There's hit data. Yeah, melee animation tag. Now, is there a way to only print out if they are public? How to check if property is public or not. Okay, so I should be able to say something like if property has any property flags, and then what are these? E property flags. Protected, blueprint callable. There's this edit. Maybe that's what we want. So let's go back, clear that log, do something like this. What I'm hoping now is, because this is the only one that is marked as edible, it would be the only one that will show up here. Let's find out. Okay, no, we're still getting a bunch of the property names. So how to access variables only from blueprint class. Let's see. We're slowly making our way there, I think. We have these object macros. Is it blueprint visible? So blueprint visible. Public native access specifiers. So how to see public blueprint variables from a different class. No. I say like redundant. Let's see. My camera freeze? Looks like it did. Okay, I'm back. Alright, so let's see what the output log will say this time. Yeah, still a bunch. Is there like so how to find properties specifically? Wow. I don't even know how to ask this question. So how to find properties explicitly from blueprint class. So if property get owner object equals generated class. Okay, so would this have to be like, so if blah, 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 blueprint visible and property get owner u object equals so because like I was doing an if statement and not even doing anything in it, I don't know. Let's see if that changes anything for us. Let's see what we get. Let's that. Okay. So there is nothing there. Let's keep trying some things here. Do we get anything? Okay. We definitely got less things now. But it is being called twice, right? Yeah. Right, these are the variables there. I'm not sure why it's getting called twice. Just for the sake. But we're good. We're getting closer. Now, can I say, so blueprint visible, is it just like CPF edit? Okay. Yeah, still the same. Still the same. Because again, I'm hoping I can just, like, whether this variable is plugged into edible on instances of this blueprint. So is there like instance edible check flag? Property is a component references. Property should always be reset. All right, I'm gonna ask the age-old question here. Instance edible. How to check if property is instanced edible. So CPF edit. So I'll... Not that. Let's see, so UE5 suggests how to check if blueprint variable is instance. Hoping Google will tell me. maybe I can say for property. Well, is there a way for me to get the flags that it has? So property flags. Get property flags, right? So E property flags, right? Okay. Can I print that instead? So can I say property name, flags, property. Oh no. Hey, can I say E property flags? And can I say how to print enum as string? I always forget how to do this. Is there like a enum? No. So how to convert string? Do. Oh my god. Okay, this is a no-go. Hmm. So how to know if class property is from blueprint and is instanced editable. I'm running into like just a constant wall. This is a thing. Maybe that's better. Let's find out. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, again, I'm not sure why it prints out twice, but whatever. Yes. Just the melee animation tag. Perfect. But again, it's printed out twice. But okay. That's the first stuff. That's the first thing done. So it does not have disable edit instance and then does not have that. So these are all what I need. Okay. So now music stop playing. Put something else on. Now, so whoa, how to create? Wait, no. So how to create state tree parameter of an array of properties? Not sure if that's the best way of saying it. So, how to create a state tree task that has an array of f property. Because yeah, again, the next problem I'm having is really like this post edit instance data. I think that's wrong. I feel like this is not. Okay, I think I know why. Because so let me look again at this run environment task. So where is this query template being defined? So it's somehow I can access that within this instance data. So for example, this should be put here. For one. And yeah, we can comment this out. And we get to say return e data validation valid for now. Give me just a second, guys. I'll be right back to check something. I'm back. So yeah, we got end streaming in a little bit here, but let's see what we can manage here in the next couple minutes. So here we have our post-edit property changes, right? Now, can I say that? So that's the problem, right? I can't, and I don't know why. Because we have gameplay ability here. So it has edit anywhere t object pointer query template. Now, does this have query template anywhere else? Like, I'm curious as to why this is accessible here. Okay, I know why. Because we need to do it via this. We can do something like that. Right? Now, I should maybe be able to do other stuff. For example, I could maybe now, so yeah, there's this enter state stuff, blah, blah, blah. Let's comment a bunch of this stuff out. Ideally, I should be able to hopefully do something along the lines of this. Down here. So again, let me just comment this part out. I should actually do this. Then instead of generating bindings, I should be able to say that, and then hopefully, yeah, now I can say instance data like this. Can I say instance data dot gameplay ability? I wonder if that's kosher. So what I'm hoping will happen is when we change the class, we'll get logs saying the property names, assuming that they're public, like how we saw it before. Because what I think we would end up needing to do is like when we activate the ability, we also need to kind of we would have to like wait for the ability to end so that we can finish the task, I guess, and say it completed or it failed or something like that. So we compiled successfully. So what's next? What's the hopes? So if we're able to get the properties, right, should be able to somehow, you know, list them as part of like the task. So maybe maybe we can do that. Yeah, that's fine. So let's open up our state tree. In our root, we have, so in our idle, I should say. So we have our gameplay ability. We have our output log here. Let's clear it. Let us put in our melee. And here is our property. Now let's do a different one. For example, let's do we have public variables on this? I don't think we do. Let us do this request handle, for example. So let us clear. So hopefully now if I put in this one, I should see this exposed targeting request handle. So put in that one, and we do property name targeting request handle. I know you guys can't really read that, but okay. So we're getting somewhere. So now it's just about this whole thing I was mentioning down here. This is generate parameter bindings, right? So I should be able to maybe just move this stuff. Oh, because what is this really doing? So generate property bindings. So we're doing all these things. We're seeing if we get the gameplay ability, then we do this iterator over the ability. So there's no real way to do it within generate property bindings, right? So let me, for now, do the stuff down here. So, so bind stuff. So it's not even binding is the word. It's gonna be so generate stuff, right? So I should hopefully be able to just copy a bunch of stuff. So far that's fine. So tmap existing bindings or const whatever binding properties cat binding and then clear it and then do this. Now there's this gameplay ability, so I should be able to say this. And then this iteration again, which is going to be fine. We'll do the iteration again. But I would probably want to say, not yet, whatever. So maybe I can copy this part. I guess I could just say, this. I wonder if that would work. Let's find out. Because if I could show those, if those can show, that's like half the battle, honestly. I'd be very happy about that at least. Okay. Let me just put melee here. No. So let's see what happens. So let's get here. Put melee again. So we got this breakpoint, right? Do we ever get here? Doesn't seem... Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's not really showing. So yeah, I think this needs to be moved up here. So edit anywhere, category parameter, hide it editor. No, I don't want to hide it. Can I do something like this? I'll say there's going to be some problems now, but we should be able to say instant data dot parameter bindings. Okay. This will be our last attempt for the day, so let's just compile one last time. And let's see what we get. Okay, it compiled. This could be either good or bad. So, because really, what's the next step, really. Like it would be like on enter, right? We would need to basically need to take the property bindings that we have and kind of just copy them into it. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm assuming it's still not going to work the way we need it to be. But no, I'm still happy with the progress that we're seeing, honestly. Because yeah, like what does this do on interstate? So it gets all the parameters, right? And then does this set dynamic param. So we gotta do something similar. Okay, let's open this back up. So here's our parameter bindings. So nothing is really being added to it. Oh! Okay. Something got added. But yeah, like not exactly what I was hoping for. So what could be wrong here? Let's say we can't edit anywhere, right? So these are properties, but so what if I make it just a U property there? Like it seems like this part is failing in a strange way. Like these are just not valid or something. So we'll see if anything changed here, and if not, we'll try to continue next time. Because I do wonder if I can just have an array of F properties. I'll definitely be trying some more stuff. Because yeah, this is the more difficult part of this task. Just being able to expose those parameters that we can bind to, and then have those parameters copied into the game playability object when it's granted. And then I would just have to then make sure that I bind to when the ability ends or is canceled, and make sure that my task completes. And probably more stuff, but you know, baby steps, I suppose. So let's see if we made things better or worse, just to start off. Probably made things worse. Yeah, so it's not visible at the moment because of the reasons we expect. Yeah, it's because it's not set anywhere. Okay, I'm going to keep hacking at it. So for now, that's where I'm going to end it. So thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate it. We'll probably be back maybe on Sunday, but for sure a bunch next week. If you aren't already following me here on Twitch, a follow would be much appreciated. You can also join our Discord. It should be a new invite that should work, so feel free to join our Discord and talk stuff there. For those watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. It would be much appreciated as well. Yeah, I see some people on YouTube. I forgot to. So yeah, for some reason I gotta fix it. The stuff on YouTube isn't really showing for me on Twitch within this Twitch chat, unless I need to do a multi-stream chat, and I need to do better with that. So I'll try to figure that out. Sorry for everyone watching from YouTube, my bad. I try to talk to people when I can, but YouTube is on a different tab than Twitch, so I'll try to do better for that. My apologies for that. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody, and I'll see you soon.